All right, listen, one of the biggest mistakes people make when dealing with disrespectful folks is looking for their approval. You keep asking yourself, why don't they respect me? What did I do wrong? How can I make them see my worth? But let me tell you something. You don't need validation from people who don't respect you. Some of y'all are out here working overtime trying to impress people who couldn't care less about you. You're trying to prove you're good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. You're changing who you are, dimming your light, walking on eggshells, all for people who have already decided they ain't going to respect you no matter what you do. And let me tell you, that ain't your problem. That's theirs. See, the moment you start seeking approval, you hand over your power. You let them control how you feel, how you move, how you see yourself, and that's dangerous. Because now every time they ignore you, every time they look down on you, every time they dismiss what you say, you take it personal. You start believing their opinion of you is the truth. But let me be clear. Somebody else's opinion of you does not determine your value. Now, I get it. You want to be liked. You want to be respected. That's human nature. But respect is not something you beg for. It's not something you chase. It's something you command by the way you carry yourself. When you walk with confidence, when you set boundaries, when you move like you know who you are, people take notice. And the ones who refuse to respect you, that's fine, because their respect was never worth having in the first place. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a lion beg a sheep for respect? No. Because a lion knows what it is. A lion don't walk around explaining why it's the king of the jungle. It just is. And that's the energy you got to have. When you stop chasing validation, you stop giving people permission to define you. Some of y'all are stuck in toxic relationships, toxic friendships, toxic jobs, all because you're waiting for somebody to finally recognize your worth. But let me tell you, if they don't see it by now, they ain't never going to see it. And that's okay, because their inability to respect you does not decrease your value. Your worth isn't up for debate. And here's the real kicker. Sometimes the reason people don't respect you is because they see your potential and it intimidates them. That's right. Some folks see your greatness before you even do, and instead of celebrating you, they try to belittle you. They try to make you feel small, unworthy, invisible, because if they can keep you doubting yourself, they don't have to deal with the fact that you might actually outgrow them. But today I need you to make a decision. Are you going to keep shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that don't respect you? Or are you going to stand tall and own who you are no matter who approves? Because the truth is, the moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you start living free. You were not put on this earth to convince people to see your value. You were put here to be valuable. So stop waiting for their respect, stop begging for their validation, and start walking in your purpose. Because when you know who you are, you don't need anybody else to confirm it. Listen, people will only treat you the way you allow them to. If you keep letting folks walk all over you, they'll keep doing it. If you let them talk to you any kind of way, they'll keep running their mouth. If you don't set some boundaries, don't expect respect. Because respect isn't something people just hand out. It's something you demand by the way you carry yourself. Some of y'all got people in your life who cross the line every single day, and instead of checking them, you just sit there letting it slide. You tell yourself, oh, that's just how they are. They don't mean no harm. Maybe if I just ignore it, they'll stop. But let me tell you something. They ain't going to stop until you stop them. See, people test you. They push to see how much they can get away with. And if you don't set the standard, they'll keep pushing, keep disrespecting, and before you know it, you're stuck in a situation where you don't even recognize yourself. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you said, nah, I don't play like that? When was the last time you looked somebody in the eye and said, I ain't tolerating that? Because if you don't draw the line, don't be surprised when folks start running right over you. That's how it works. You set the tone for how people treat you. And if you keep making excuses for them, if you keep letting stuff slide, they're going to keep disrespecting you like it's normal. Now, I get it. Some of y'all don't like confrontation. You don't want to seem rude. You're afraid of losing relationships. But let me tell you, a relationship that requires you to tolerate disrespect is a relationship you don't need. I don't care if it's your friend, your coworker, your family, or somebody you've known for years. If they can't respect your boundaries, they don't belong in your life, period. And I already know what some of y'all are thinking. But what if they get mad? What if they don't like me anymore? Let me help you out. If somebody gets mad because you set a boundary, that means they benefited from crossing it. That means they were comfortable disrespecting you. And if that's the case, you ain't losing anything by standing up for yourself. Boundaries ain't just about keeping the wrong people out. They're about keeping the right version of you in. You ever notice how when you let people cross your boundaries, you start feeling drained? You feel frustrated, unappreciated, exhausted. That's because every time you let someone step over your line, you're teaching yourself that your feelings don't matter. You're telling yourself that their comfort is more important than your peace. And let me tell you something, your peace is too expensive to give away for free. The truth is, the people who really respect you won't have a problem with your boundaries. They'll understand. They'll adjust. They'll meet you where you stand. But the ones who get mad, the ones who make you feel guilty, the ones who try to manipulate you, oh, those are the ones who were never really for you in the first place. Those are the ones you need to be watching. So today, I need you to make a decision. Are you going to keep letting people walk all over you? Or are you going to step up and let them know you ain't the one? Because respect starts with you. You set the standard, you draw the line, and if they can't respect that, then they don't belong in your space. At the end of the day, you got to protect your peace. You got to stand firm. You got to teach people how to treat you. Because when you start setting boundaries, you stop settling for less than you deserve. And let me tell you something. When you respect yourself, the world has no choice but to follow suit. Listen, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is thinking you owe people an explanation for how you live your life. Some of y'all spend way too much time explaining yourself to folks who don't even respect you. You trying to justify your decisions, trying to make them understand your choices, trying to prove yourself to people who already made up their minds about you. And let me tell you something. You don't owe nobody that. See, the problem is when you start explaining yourself, you're looking for permission. You're looking for approval. You're hoping that if you just lay it all out, if you make them understand, they'll finally give you the respect you deserve. But let me help you out. Some people don't want to understand you. They want to judge you. They want to argue. They want to keep you in a position where you feel like you got to prove yourself over and over again. And that's a game you ain't ever going to win. Somebody don't like how you move? Oh, well. Somebody don't agree with your decisions? That's their problem. Somebody think you should be doing something different with your life? That's cute. But last time I checked, they ain't paying your bills, they ain't walking your shoes, and they ain't responsible for your happiness. So why are you explaining yourself to them? You got to stop handing people that kind of power. Stop sitting around trying to convince folks to respect you. If they don't see your value now, they ain't going to see it just because you sat down and broke it all down for them. And let's be real. The people who truly respect you don't need an explanation. They see you. They support you. They trust that you're doing what's best for you. It's only the ones who want to control you, the ones who want to keep you second-guessing yourself, who act like they need a whole presentation before they show you any kind of respect. Let me ask you something. Why are you explaining yourself to people who wouldn't do the same for you? You ever notice how the folks who question your every move, who demand answers from you, are the same ones who don't answer to nobody. They do what they want, how they want, when they want, and yet they got the nerve to ask you why you're making the choices you're making? Nah, that's not how this works. And let's talk about this. Some of y'all are explaining yourselves to people who don't even like you. People who don't care about your success. People who, no matter what you say, are just waiting to find something else to criticize. And you sitting there wasting your breath trying to get them to see your side. For what? They ain't listening to understand, they listening to respond. They listening to find something to twist, something to use against you, something to gossip about. So why are you giving them that access? Now, I get it. You want to be understood. You want people to see your heart, to know you got good intentions. But let me tell you something. Real ones don't need an explanation. They know your character. They know your worth. They trust your process. And anybody who don't, well, they can stay confused. That's not your burden to carry. See, you got to get comfortable with people not understanding you. You got to be okay with folks not agreeing with you. You got to move in a way where their opinions don't dictate your direction. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you take your power back. You free yourself from the need to be accepted. You start living for you instead of living for their approval. And here's the thing. When you stop explaining yourself, you force people to either respect you or remove themselves. And either way you win, because the ones who truly belong in your life will respect your choices, even when they don't understand them. And the ones who can't handle that, well, they were never really for you in the first place. So from now on, stop feeling like you got to justify yourself. Stop defending your decisions to people who wouldn't defend you. Stop explaining your worth to people who have already chosen not to see it. Because when you know who you are, when you know what you bring to the table, you don't waste time convincing anybody else. Let me tell you something. The best way to handle disrespect is success. Some of y'all out here arguing, debating, trying to clap back at folks who don't even respect you. You wasting energy trying to prove yourself to people who ain't even on your level. And for what? You think if you just say the right thing, they'll suddenly respect you? No, they won't. Some folks are committed to misunderstanding you. And the more you fight for their approval, the more power you give them. But let me tell you what does work. Winning. See, when you start succeeding, people ain't got no choice but to notice. They ain't got to like you. They ain't got to agree with you, but they will have to respect the fact that you handled your business. That's why you don't waste your time arguing. You don't go back and forth with people who ain't doing nothing for you. You don't lower yourself to their level. You let your success speak for itself. Some of y'all been stuck in a cycle, constantly trying to get people to respect you with words. You keep explaining yourself, keep justifying your choices, keep asking, why don't they take me seriously? But let me ask you something. When has arguing ever made somebody respect you? When has explaining yourself to the wrong people ever changed the way they see you? It don't work like that. Respect is earned, not begged for. And the best way to earn it, level up. You ever notice how people switch up when they see you winning? Oh, it's funny how the same folks who used to look down on you, the same ones who had all kinds of things to say, suddenly get quiet when you start making moves. That's because success forces them to acknowledge what they tried to deny. They can't ignore you when you're shining too bright. And let me make something real clear. You ain't doing this for them. Your success ain't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about stepping into the life you deserve. It's about walking in your purpose. Because let's be real, even when you win, some folks still won't respect you. And that's fine. Because at the end of the day, their respect don't pay your bills, their opinion don't change your destiny, and their validation don't determine your worth. Some of y'all have been wasting too much time worrying about who don't respect you instead of focusing on building the life you deserve. You're so caught up in trying to get people to acknowledge your value that you forgot the most important thing. You got to believe in your own value first. You got to move like you already know you're worth it. And once you do that, once you stop chasing respect and start chasing success, everything changes. See, success is bigger than money. It's bigger than status. Success is about walking in confidence. It's about knowing who you are, setting boundaries, and refusing to let people shake you. It's about understanding that your time is too valuable to be spent trying to convince small-minded people to see your greatness. Because when you truly know your worth, you stop explaining, you stop chasing, and you start thriving. And let me tell you something else. Winning is personal. Some of y'all think success means being millions, being famous, having everybody watching you. No. Success is personal. Success is doing better today than you did yesterday. It's growing, it's leveling up, it's walking in your purpose with confidence. It's showing up for yourself day in and day out, regardless of who's watching, regardless of who's clapping. So stop giving your attention to people who don't respect you. Stop wasting your breath on folks who ain't never going to see your worth. Stop worrying about what they saying, what they thinking, what they doing. Instead, focus on winning in your own lane. Because the best response to disrespect, success. Let me tell you something. Some people don't deserve your time, your energy, or your presence. I know that might be hard to hear, especially if you've been holding on, hoping they'll change, hoping one day they'll finally respect you. But the truth is, not everybody is meant to stay in your life. And if somebody keeps showing you they don't respect you, keeps crossing the line, keeps making you feel less than, you need to know when to walk away. See, some of y'all are wasting your energy trying to force people to treat you right. You keep giving second chances, keep making excuses, keep convincing yourself that maybe, just maybe, if you try a little harder, they'll finally see your worth. But let me ask you something. How much more do you have to take before you realize they ain't going to change? How many times do you have to feel disrespected before you understand that it's not your job to teach grown people how to act? You ever notice how some folks only respect you when they need something? When they want something from you, they sweet, they kind, they act right, but the moment they get what they want, the moment they're comfortable again, they go right back to treating you like you don't matter. And you sitting there confused, wondering what you did wrong. But it ain't you, it's them. They never respected you in the first place. They just tolerated you for what they could get. Now, I get it. Walking away ain't easy, especially when it's family, especially when it's people you've known for years, especially when you've invested your time, your heart, your energy into them. But let me ask you, what's harder, walking away or staying in a situation where you're constantly disrespected? Because one thing about life is the longer you tolerate nonsense, the harder it gets to break free from it. See, people will drain you if you let them. They will take advantage of your kindness. They will keep crossing the line if they know you ain't never going to leave. But the moment you decide you've had enough, the moment you stop showing up for people who don't show up for you, everything changes. Because walking away ain't about them. It's about you. It's about choosing yourself. It's about saying, I deserve better, and I ain't afraid to go get it. Some of y'all are afraid to leave because you think being alone is worse than being disrespected. You think that if you walk away, you'll have nobody. But let me tell you something. Being alone and at peace is always better than being surrounded by people who don't respect you. You ain't losing anything by walking away from disrespect. You're gaining your dignity, your self-respect, your power. And here's the thing. When you start walking away from people who don't respect you, you make room for the right people to enter your life. You make space for people who appreciate you, who value you, who see your worth without you having to prove it. But as long as you keep holding on to toxic relationships, as long as you keep entertaining people who don't deserve you, you blocking your own blessings. I need you to ask yourself today, who in your life is draining you? Who in your life do you keep making excuses for? Who do you keep allowing back in even after they've shown you time and time again that they don't respect you? And once you figure that out, I need you to make a decision. Are you going to keep allowing it, or are you finally going to put yourself first? Because at the end of the day, you can't change people. You can't force them to respect you. But you can decide that you deserve better. So stop explaining yourself. Stop waiting for them to change. Stop hoping for the respect that they ain't never going to give you. Pick up your dignity, walk away, and never look back. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you accept, and what you walk away from. Some of y'all are out here dealing with constant disrespect because you never made it clear that you ain't the one to play with. You let things slide. You laugh off comments that cut deep. You pretend it don't bother you when people cross the line. And now you're wondering why nobody respects you. It's because you never required it. See, life is real simple. People will treat you the way you let them. If you keep showing up for people who never show up for you, they will expect you to keep doing it. If you keep answering the phone for folks who only call you when they need something, they will assume you're always available. If you keep tolerating disrespect, they will believe it's okay, because every time you accept it, you're giving them permission to keep doing it. Now, I get it. Some of y'all don't like confrontation because you don't want to see me. You're afraid of hurting people's feelings. But let me ask you, why are their feelings more important than your peace? Why are you more concerned about how they feel when they clearly don't care about how they make you feel? See, you got to start demanding the same level of respect you give out. Because if you keep making excuses for people, they're going to keep taking advantage of you. Some folks will never respect you until they see that you respect yourself. They watching you, testing you, seeing what they can get away with. And the moment they realize you ain't got no boundaries, the moment they see that you'll tolerate anything, they will keep doing exactly what they've been doing. And you sitting there confused, wondering why they don't treat you right, when really you gave them the blueprint on how to treat you. Let me tell you something. Boundaries ain't just for them, they're for you. They remind you of what you will and won't accept. They protect your energy, your peace, your mental health. And the ones who truly respect you, they won't have a problem with your boundaries. They won't get mad when you say no. They won't try to manipulate you into tolerating less than you deserve. Only the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries will be upset. So today I need you to make a decision. Are you going to keep letting people walk all over you, or are you finally going to set the standard for how you want to be treated? Because you can't control how people act, but you can control what you tolerate. And the moment you start requiring respect, the moment you stop allowing disrespect, everything shifts. And let me tell you something else. Setting boundaries don't mean you got to be rude. You ain't got to argue. You ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. You just got to be firm. You just got to make it clear that if they can't respect you, they can't have access to you. And you do that without guilt, without apology, and without hesitation. Because at the end of the day, respect starts with you. If you don't respect yourself enough to demand better, don't expect anybody else to give it to you. You are not an option. You are not an afterthought. You are not somebody's punching bag. You are valuable, and you deserve to be treated as such. So stop making excuses for people. Stop giving unlimited chances. Stop allowing disrespect just because you don't want to upset nobody. Make them meet you at the level of respect you deserve, or make them watch you from a distance. Listen, at some point, you got to understand that not everybody is meant to go where you're going. Some of y'all are out here trying to drag people along who are never supposed to be part of your journey. You keep trying to fix relationships that ain't serving you. You keep trying to get respect from folks who ain't never going to give it to you. Keep trying to hold on to people who don't value you. And the truth is, you're wasting your time. See, the hardest lesson in life is realizing that some folks don't deserve a front row seat to your life. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a season. And when that season is over, you got to be okay with letting them go. But the problem is, some of y'all are so focused on keeping people around that you don't even realize they're holding you back. You trying to grow, you trying to evolve, you trying to become the best version of yourself, but you got dead weight on you. And that's why you feel stuck. You ever notice how your energy shifts when you're around certain people? How you feel drained, unappreciated, and disrespected? How no matter what you do, it's never enough? That's because you're trying to force connections that ain't meant for you. And let me tell you something. You can't make people respect you. You can't make people value you. You can't make people see your worth if they've already decided not to. The moment you stop begging for respect, the moment you stop chasing after people who don't appreciate you, that's when you get your power back. That's when you create space for the right people to come into your life. Because the truth is, the wrong people will never respect you the way you deserve to be respected. They will always see you as less than. They will always make you feel small. They will always keep you doubting yourself. And as long as you keep holding on to them, you're blocking your blessings. Some of y'all got big things waiting for you. You got opportunities, you got success, you got happiness on the other side of this. But you ain't going to reach it if you keep carrying around people who were never meant to go with you. Some folks can't handle your growth. Some folks can't handle your confidence. Some folks can't handle the fact that you're finally realizing your worth. And instead of supporting you, instead of celebrating you, they try to bring you back down. And you letting them because you're afraid to walk away. But let me tell you something. Letting go ain't losing. Letting go is winning. Because when you let go of people who don't respect you, you gain peace. You gain self-respect. You gain clarity, and most importantly, you make room for the people who truly belong in your life. See, real ones don't need to be convinced to respect you. The right people don't make you question your worth. They don't make you beg for the bare minimum. They see your value without you having to prove it. So why are you wasting time on the wrong ones? Letting go is not weakness. It's not giving up. It's choosing yourself. It's understanding that you deserve more. It's knowing that you will never be fully respected in a place where you were never meant to be. So stop fighting for a seat at a table that was never meant for you. Stop holding on to people who don't hold on to you. Stop forcing connections that drain you, because the moment you let go, the moment you free yourself from the need to be respected by the wrong people, that's when the right ones show up. At the end of the day, respect ain't something you chase, it's something you command. And you don't command it with words, with arguments, or by begging people to see your worth. You command respect by the way you carry yourself, the way you set boundaries, the way you walk away from what no longer serves you. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you refuse to entertain. Some folks will never respect you, and they're fine, because their opinion don't define your value. What defines you is how you choose to move forward. You got too much greatness in you to be wasting time on people who can't see it. You got too much purpose to be explaining yourself to folks who don't even matter in the long run. So stop looking for respect in the wrong places. Stop waiting for people to validate you. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Step up, stand tall, and go get everything that's meant for you. And as you move forward, remember this. You don't need everybody to like you. You don't need everybody to understand you, and you sure don't need everybody's approval. You just need to respect yourself enough to demand better, and once you do that, everything else will fall into place. I believe in you. I know you got it in you to rise above all the nonsense, to protect your peace, and to walk in your power. So go out there, handle your business, and build the life you deserve. Good luck, stay strong, and thank you.